beautiful winter wonderland in Omaha, Nebraska. As Creighton women's basketball hosts Butler inside of DJ Sokol Arena. A battle of Big East Conference teams that are knotted up in the standings. Alongside Rob Sims, I'm Thor Tripp. And these teams, two of a six-way tie atop for second place in this league. Sort out Sunday as they play each other, Rob.
Yeah, all six of those teams in action against each other here to wrap up the first half of Big East Conference play.
And Kristen Spolier leading the way for Butler as she has all season long, the preseason all-conference pick.
Yeah, she's going to be a handful for the Blue Jays to handle today. She led the Big East in scoring and rebounding last weekend, and for her efforts, named the Big East Player of the Week. On the other side for the Blue Jays, Temi Sarda coming off a career night against Xavier in Creighton's victory over the Musketeers. She's averaging 22 points per game in her last 3 home games. They're going to need every bit of her scoring ability today as the Blue Jays again play without Jalen Agnew.
Yeah, big shoes to fill as always. She did it well on Friday. She'll try it again as the beat-up Blue Jays host the Bulldogs. Butler and Creighton 16th all-time meeting on tap here in Omaha.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
I got the power, gonna raise it up so high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, we got to raise it up.
Back here in Omaha, starting lineups just getting underway here at DJ Sokol Arena. Great matchup here for you between a couple teams that have played really well, especially on the road when you think about the Bulldogs, Rob. 4-0 so far in Big East Conference play away from home. What makes them so successful?
Well, it's their defense, first and foremost. They lead the league in defense, points allowed, allowing just 58.9 points per game. And there you see the starting group for the Bulldogs. And something else that makes them so special and difficult is the experience that they have. Along with Kristen Spolier, who we highlighted, Shea Bry has been there for 4 years and understands what Kurt Godleski is trying to do. Catherine Strong, another senior for this squad. But really, Umu Torre has really stepped up, and she has performed well for a freshman, second on the team in Big East play with almost 9 points per game.
Yeah, for the first time in her career, she led the Bulldogs in scoring in their last time out at Providence on Friday. For the Creighton Blue Jays, who are just being introduced here at home, watching the highlight video, this is what your starting group will look like. It's not what Coach Flannery envisioned by any means at the beginning of this season, but injuries have really banged up this group. Thankfully, Tatum Rembow, coming up right now, being introduced, is back in the lineup and healthy, coming off her first reappearance in the lineup.
Yeah, Rembow had missed 8 games prior to returning into action on Friday night. She played limited minutes on Friday, but Coach Flannery tells us she has unlimited minutes today, so that's good news for the Blue Jays. Now you look at that lineup, and you're missing a couple names because 3 players out today for the Blue Jays. We talked about leading scorer Jalen Agnew out, but in addition to her, Rachel Saunders is out. She missed the second half on Friday night, and then Peyton Brodsky also out today. So Jays dressing just 8 healthy players. Carly Batchelor, the freshman who had a double-double on Friday night, career high in points and rebounds. She earns her first collegiate start, and there you see the injured Jalen Agnew out. Suffered a concussion last Friday on the road at Seton Hall and missed St. John's last Sunday and missed Friday. They were hoping to have her back on the weekend. They thought they might have her back, but ends up not being able to play on both of these home games.
And when you think about this matchup today, it might not be the prettiest offensive game you've ever watched in the women's college ranks. You've got a couple of teams who are gritty on the defensive end. Creighton more so than usual this season. They've held opponents to 63 or less 12 times. They're 10-2 in those games. So both of these teams want to shut down the opposition's offense, and that'll be the keys to victory. You see here Creighton leading the all-time series 9-6. They were swept in the regular season by the Bulldogs last year in convincing fashion, 20-plus points in both of those games. But yet Creighton was able to win in the Big East Conference tournament and knock Butler off. You see head coach Kurt Godlewski there for the Bulldogs, and he's been fantastic in terms of turning this program around since he's been at the helm. 23 wins last year for Butler, and certainly trying to take another step forward with 13 already on the docket this season. Ready for a jump ball here in Omaha. Tip-off just about underway at DJ Sokol Arena as the Bulldogs will control possession first.
Thor, I'm glad you threw out the disclaimer already that this might not be the prettiest offensive game. Both these teams slugged their way to a victory on Friday night. We'll probably see more of the same today.
And Catherine Strong, a little happy feet down in the post early on, a traveling violation as Creighton comes out in the 2-3 zone defensively to start.
Yeah, coach talked about maybe throwing some different wrinkles in there just because they need Temi Sarda to play 40 minutes and they can't get her in foul trouble. So they run some different wrinkles on their first defensive possession.
And Butler picking up full court from the get-go. The Jays able to beat the pressure, but down to 15 on the shot clock already before being able to set up their offense. Could be part of the plan here for the Bulldogs to make Creighton burn off some of that energy with the short bench. 5 now on the shot clock. Elger's shot swatted away by Toure, but then stolen back by Bachelor. Fresh shot clock now for the Jays as Rembau tries to reset things. That gritty offensive game coming to fruition on both sides already early in this contest as Rembau throws the floater up and good for the first basket of the game.
Well, Butler's just so good at defense. You can see it just on that first defensive possession. They do not allow penetration. It's just what they hang their hat on, the closeout drills that they practice, the switching. They are just so good at all facets of defense. And you could see it there. Despite Creighton capitalizing, it was still a tough basket to get.
Spolier now into the lane, puts up the left in traffic, and she draws the foul. Nothing new for Kristen Spolier, getting to the line, a place she's pretty familiar with.
Yeah, I'd say so. Leads the Big East and 4th in the nation with 105 free throws made in her career. She's a 4th-year senior here. 320 free throws made, and yeah, that's where she makes a lot of her living at the free throw line.
First shot up, Jim Flannery hoping to slow down Spolier and getting to the basket in this contest. Knocks down the second free throw, and the Bulldogs are on the board. More three-quarter court pressure here from Butler. Rembau with a bounce pass to Sarda across the timeline now for Elger. A nice job by Creighton to break the press, but then stolen away and up ahead for the lay-in going the opposite direction. Nice job by the Bulldogs to get Shea Bry open for an easy layup.
Yeah, Shea Bry started that play too with the steal from behind. Defense leading the offense for the Bulldogs. They forced 26 turnovers on Friday night, converted that into 22 points of their 50 total.
That gave up just 47 to the Friars, but the Jays on the second chance opportunity there. Nice job by Carly Bachelor after her breakout performance on Friday night.
Yeah, 17 points, 10 rebounds for the freshman. Works her way into the starting lineup now. Injuries had a little bit to do with that, but she certainly earned her way in there with that double-double.
And she'll have to earn her keep on the floor today as well. Coach Jim Flannery said she might play 40 minutes depending on how this lineup goes. Catherine Strong with a nice-looking jump shot near the top of the key there to put Butler back in front.
Strong really likes playing in this gym, I think.
And Rembau doesn't mind at all as well. Puts Creighton back in front with a 3. Good sign for the Blue Jays to get Tatum Rembau hot in the early going.
Well, and it's a good sign, too, that she was set and ready to shoot because the closeout was coming, but she didn't wait. She didn't hesitate. She pulled the trigger right away.
Spolier, life difficult for her to catch today. That'll be the goal for the Blue Jays. Knocked out of bounds off of Toure down by the baseline. And the double team paying off for Creighton.
Exactly right, with Olivia Elger collapsing on Temi Sarda was getting posted up by Umu Toure. Elger able to collapse there and knock the ball off of Toure and get a turnover for the Blue Jays.
Chloe Dworick, the Nebraska native, into the contest now as Elger takes a seat. They'll try to limit her minutes a little bit today as well. Hard opportunity to be able to do that when you're short on the bench in the first place. Sarda to the left with the mismatch on Strong, kicks it to the wing. Long three ball up and good. Temi Sarda picks up right where she left off on Friday, knocking down her first try.
I don't think Catherine Strong thought she was going to pull the trigger. Sarda, that was a little bit beyond what you typically see from the junior. Stepped out a little bit beyond that three-point line, and Strong didn't put her hands up in time.
Good ball movement now to the wing, and a three ball knocked down in response by Nida Caceres. Nice job of Butler playing inside out there.
Yeah, another bench player for the Bulldogs. Very important player, played a season-high, career-high 23 minutes on Friday night. Caceres comes in and knocks down the triple.
Kurt Godlewski says she's the most versatile player on their roster. She can play some guard, she can play forward. Able to knock down a three early there. So, of course, we come in hating on the offense, and these teams are on pace to put up plenty of points here this afternoon in Omaha.
Well, Butler hasn't missed. Creighton's 4 for 6. So, yeah, I'm glad to be proven wrong on that point for sure.
Sarda with just 2 on the shot clock has to force up a floater, no good off the front rim. Rebound batted around and secured by the Bulldogs. Spolier now in transition to the middle of the lane against 3 defenders and gets it into the bucket to knot things up, and that's a good sign for Butler's leading scorer.
Yeah, an aggressive take, which is what you expect from Kristen Spolier, and she's frustrated that she didn't get the whistle. There were about 3 J's on her, and she made the basket, but she was greedy. She wanted that and one.
Nowhere to go here, this tough defense for the Bulldogs, not giving an inch. Rembau open on the wing after the ball movement, good again. And Tatum Rembau with 8 early points for the Jays.
Rembau averages just under 11 points per game. She really didn't look herself back to action on Friday for the first time since December 14th. She's looking a little bit like she's in a bigger flow of the game thus far.
Batchelor brings up the ball after securing the rebound. Dworick open in the corner, opts to hold on. Go back to Rembau, and why not? Screen action coming to the top of the key with under 10 to shoot. Sarda looking for space, gets the mismatch on Spolier. Throws it up from 3, good again! Hot shooting Blue Jays.
And both of her three-pointers are atypical for Temi Sarda three-pointers. The first one, a bit off the line. This one, moving into it on the shot. Not a catch and shoot, but creating her own shot from 3.
4 trays from the Blue Jays to open this contest.
And almost a triple team there on Spolier to get the steal. Batchelor coming away with it.
Sarda to Rembau now as the Jays try to extend this lead. Sarda with a nice job off the tough defense over pursuit, results in the short jump shot, and Sarda delivers another bucket.
So
18 points already.
Disregard what we said.
6+ minutes of basketball for Creighton.
Creighton 7 for 10. Butler 4 for 5.
Open from the wing, knocked down good. On the other end is Upe Atuso, and she follows suit.
Yeah,
the jump shot.
They'll say her foot was on the line, but yeah, another bench player. Important. She's a junior college All-American last year, and she's gotten herself into important minutes here for Butler in her first season on campus.
On a screen and roll for the Blue Jays in the early going. Dworick into the lane, kicks. Sarda has it poked away. Back the other way, a 2-on-1, laid up and in off the glass. Nice finish there as Shea Bry.
And again, it's defense to offense, and it's Bry again. She tapped that away from behind, and she gets rewarded with the points for the second time after her second steal.
Yeah, Butler tremendous defensively, averaging nearly 11 steals per game as a team. We've seen that come to fruition here in the early going against the Jays. Parham with the jump shot, gets the friendly home roll.
Nice soft touch there by the freshman on the baseline. Another bench player. Bench really getting into the action early on for both sides here in this one.
Butler a little more room to operate here from the outside, and Coach Jim Flannery not as concerned about their three-point shooting, though maybe he should be after starting 2 of 3 here for the Bulldogs. Tipped out of bounds, and it'll be Creighton basketball. Our first media timeout with just 2 minutes left and change in the first quarter. Hot shooting on both benches. Creighton out in front in the early going.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Back here in Omaha, the Jays in front of the Bulldogs in the early going here. Head coach Kurt Godslewski in his 6th season at Butler at the helm. 81 wins thus far in his tenure, 23 coming last year. His best season with the Bulldogs. You see him there directing his team in the huddle, the reigning Big East Conference Coach of the Year in women's basketball, trying to draw up a way to slow down this Creighton Blue Jays offensive attack. It's been an interesting travel weekend for Butler, as it always seems to be, coming from Providence all the way to Omaha. They weren't able to head out of town on Friday with some flight issues, and then yesterday they had their flight delayed again, so they had to practice in Rhode Island before traveling to Omaha. And at least this year, he said that they had an opportunity to practice, which they didn't last year.
Exactly right. We were talking to them about that, and so it wasn't at least that they just sat around and said, oh, well, I guess we'll get there when we get there. They took matters into their own hand and said, all right, if we're not going to get to Creighton, and they ended up getting to Omaha at about 5 o'clock last night, so they didn't get to the gym in Omaha last night here at DJ Sokol Arena. They did come a little bit earlier than normal to the gym today to put up some shots, but he was at least thankful that they got to shoot around and practice at Providence before they took off and ended up finally getting here last year. Obviously, the odd travel partner situation here for Creighton and Providence as travel partners, and Jim Flannery, head coach for the Blue Jays, coaching at his alma mater, the all-time winningest coach in program history.
Yeah, 340 victories, a winning percentage over 600 for Flan with Creighton. Now Sarda will start us off here for a short spurt to finish off the first quarter. Batchelor guarded again by Bry out at the wing, looking for that steal. The length of Butler defensively is tremendous. Elger back into the game now with under 10 on the shot clock. With it in the corner, going against Bry in the long defense. Shot open from the wing, long, no good. And back the other way after a miss by Gracie Griglione. Tough spot for her there to shoot from with that violation pending.
And Bry was right there too, guarding.
Traveling violation now on Caceres. Great defense by the Jays as she went up for the shot, and virtually a tie up there. It results in the travel.
There we go. So after the first 8 minutes, we finally get the first stoppage. Both coaches are able to say, hey, let's play defense, and they get 2 defensive stops on both ends to get going.
Now you see the length of Caceres there out on the wing. Sarda tried to beat her to the basket, but a little bit too deep there before she was able to put it up. Caceres all the way to the rack, coast to coast, no good. Rebound now coming back the other way is Dee Pryor.
Yeah, Caceres showing off some of that versatility you were talking about with Coach Godlewski and Caceres.
Pryor with the floater, no good. Just arms and limbs everywhere for Butler on the defensive end.
And again, it was Bry closing in there to help the double team, and Come down, looks like we got an offensive foul.
Yeah, charge taken there by Temi Sardes. Genesis Parker tried to force the action, hasn't been able to get into much of a rhythm in this contest as of yet, but Sarda credited with taking the charge. So no scoring here since the media timeout. Full court pressure with that inexperience from the Jays. Ball out of bounds, and Butler will keep it. Looked like a kick originally, but they'll talk about it here. Ruled off of Bachelor.
I don't think either of the other officials were close enough that they're going to be able to overturn what the original official called it. They say it went off of Bachelor.
Now they'll overrule.
Okay, so she pointed one direction, but she's going to give the ball the other direction.
I think she simply pointed the wrong way.
That very well could have been it.
Because everybody was up in arms there, and so was Genesis Parker on the steal defensively. Hands off to Spolier for the easy layup. Might have resulted better for the Jays if they had turned it over on the inbound. Bachelor now against Bride, taking it up herself, poked away and through defenders. Down low for Griglione, layup draws the foul. But we've seen this a couple times now. Carly Bachelor able to take it up the floor herself, and that's so important today with the lack of bench and the lack of guards able to beat that pressure.
Well, that's what Coach Flannery talked about before the game too, that they're probably going to stay small. Even though Butler has some bigger players, he thinks that it'll benefit them to stay small because of the ball handlers, with Carly Bachelor being one of the bigger players out there. She's on the floor, and like you said, able to bring the ball up the court herself is huge instead of stopping her dribble and trying to make a pass in that tight press that Butler's putting up.
Now Pryor will check out for the final defensive possession here of the first quarter. Rembow checks back in to guard Parker. A mismatch down low now with Dworick on Spolier. We'll see if the Bulldogs try to exploit that matchup in the post. Under 10 now in the first quarter. Strong into the lane, kicks out to Toure, but an offensive foul. Another charge drawn by Sarda. She's been tremendous offensively as of late and doing it defensively on back-to-back possessions as well.
And I think that's what's so impressive. Coach Flannery needs her out there in offense, needs her not only to run the offense, he needs her to score, but she's also out there taking charges, sacrificing her body. She's played 40 minutes, Thor, in 4 of the last 5 Creighton games, including the last 3 home games. She hasn't come off the floor, and he told us point blank she has to play 40 today.
That's just the way this lineup is going to work. Deflected out of bounds now, just over 3 seconds to go. To Rembo now, an opportunity to get a shot off for Alger at the buzzer. Bank is closed on Sundays. The Jays will take a 6-point lead over the Bulldogs after quarter number 1 in Omaha. A shootout at DJ Sokol Arena. More on tap for the second quarter coming up next.
Every time you show up, every time you make your loyalties clear, whether you're here for the memories that last a lifetime or the dance that happens just once a year, whether you ride for the Cinderella or go all in for the legendary comeback, however you choose to be a fan, you make the game, and they make history. March 20th and 22nd in Omaha, Nebraska. Nothing beats the crowd. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets to get your seats today.
I'm from Chicago, Cleveland,
Phoenix, Milwaukee,
Hartford,
Colorado, Oklahoma,
Thailand, Norway, Cameroon.
And I chose
Xavier University
for business, chemical science,
occupational therapy,
philosophy, politics, and the public,
computer science.
Because it felt like home.
I knew I would be welcome.
Because they take care of veterans.
I felt connected to the campus, to the people,
the sports.
I came here to be a musketeer.
And now,
I am.
I am.
All for one.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
I got the power, gonna raise
in Omaha after a hot start offensively for both of these teams. And for Creighton, that's a good sign, missing their leading scorer to be in front by 6 points. You see the back of Jalen Agnew's head there on the right. The second leading scorer in this conference, Rob. And despite her absence in this lineup now for the third game in a row, Creighton has found some answers, especially from outside today.
Yeah, missing Agnew has been tough. They lost their first game without her last Sunday at St. John's. That's a tough road swing anyway. But then coming back here, able to get that win on Friday night, and you see all her outstanding numbers. I mean, she averaging 23 points in Big East games, and that leads all players. So she, quite frankly, was one of the front runners for Big East Player of the Year, and still could be if she can get back healthy soon. But like you said, they're managing without her right now because they have done a good job moving the ball and not getting stuck.
And it's not just the scoring from her perspective, as Spolier steals it from Sarda the other way. Layup no good, but she'll get back to the line once again. Sarda can't believe the call, but Spolier doesn't mind. Great defense rewarded on the offensive end.
Now take a look here. They said they got her elbow. Not seeing it on that replay, but they said Spolier nicked on the elbow by Sarda, and that's exactly what Spolier wants. Back at the free throw line, that's her second home. It's where she's comfortable. 1,300 career points, better than 1,300. It's top 10 in school history, and she's always been a solid player. She's been a good player. We ask, she's really made a huge jump this year into being a star player. And we ask why, how has she made that jump? Coach said it started in the offseason, just committing to better nutrition, committing to a better training regimen, and it really has paid off for the senior.
And you can see her just attacking offensively in the early going. She's coming off her worst game of the season. Just 2 of 15 from the field and 7 points in her last outing, but already today matching that total in just a quarter and a little change. This layup there by Rembau on the offensive end for Creighton, as the Bulldogs will turn over possession here out of bounds. But those opportunities at the rim for Creighton will be few and far between with the length of Butler in this one. It's almost like Rembau was surprised at how open she was there once she got to the basket.
Trying to finish with her offhand and a little bit of traffic as well. That's Spolier just attacking.
Trying to force the pace here for the Blue Jays. Rembau now to the corner for Dworak. Had Parham down low, unable to deliver, now off the bounce. Under 10 on the shot clock now. Into the middle, Dworak with the floater, rims out, no good, but Parham with the rebound. Nice job by the freshman to give Creighton another opportunity. Elger almost cashes in from outside, but can't get the friendly roll on the rim. Spolier now with the pull-up jump shot, good, and she's up to 9 already. As Butler cuts that deficit down to 2.
Well, you mentioned it, coming off her worst performance of the season. She had been in double figures in all but one game going into that one. And just that off shooting night, you didn't expect you'd see that again, and she has returned to form today.
Elger unable to draw a foul there on the reach from Spolier. Another shot rims out, strong in the lane on the transition pass the other direction, out of bounds off of Strong after the miss, and Creighton will take over possession. A line change now coming for the Jays. Their 3 lone bench players will check in. Parham and Dworak and Elger will check out.
Playing with those limited players dressed, just 8 players for the Blue Jays today.
In the corner now, Rembau back to Sarda on the baseline, just tough to find any space, and finally a reach called on Atoso, as the fans here for the Blue Jays side have been looking for that call throughout the first half.
Well, and that's just Butler's personality. I mean, that's the defense that they play. They are always swarming, and there's always a little bit of contact, and you can typically get away with a little bit, but they whistle if you get a little too aggressive there.
Sarda able to get away from the double team there to Pryor, who saves it from going out of bounds. A lot of contact there between Spolier, and now Strong whistled for the body on Sarda as she tried to hedge just a little bit late.
A lot of bodies flying out there. Watch, you'll first see Spolier running into Griglione, and then Strong bumping Sarda there. Godleski really upset about that screen. To me, on the replay, it looked clean. You just don't want to see your best player run into a screen that hard.
Yeah, the communication maybe lacking a little bit there on that defensive possession for the Bulldogs, as Strong was concerned about getting out to hedge against Sarda, who obviously starts the offense for the Jays.
Well, and it's unusual to see Spolier so strong. She doesn't get knocked down very much, so that's a little bit jarring too, but the game getting a little feisty now. This is kind of what we thought we'd see from the get-go.
It is. You see a little grit. Bachelor tries to get to the basket, fouled on the floor now as the officials starting to be a little more aggressive with their whistles here in this second quarter.
And fouls starting to add up a little bit. That's 3 now on the Bulldogs. We're not even 3 minutes in here in the quarter.
Long pass back over the midcourt line, but Sarda able to gather before Atoso can get there. Bachelor trying to get in to the post, under 10 now in the shot clock. Again, contact. This time whistled on Toure. So 4 fouls now in the quarter already for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that's good news for the Blue Jays if they can get themselves to the free throw line. They're one of the top free throw shooting teams in the country. Came into this week 13th in the nation at the stripe.
The challenge all afternoon has been getting the ball in bounds,
Yep.
and a 5-second violation called there as Dee Pryor unable to find an open teammate.
She hesitated. I think she had the opening before she let go of it after the 5-second call, and because of that hesitation, it results in a Creighton turnover. They have 5 turnovers now. Butler with 7, and a moving screen now.
Yeah, offensively, you can see that coming. Jim Flannery clearly alerting the officials to that going in, and Coach Godlewski is really upset with the way this second quarter has gone in terms of the officiating for his Bulldogs.
Free throws the rest of the way now on offense for the Blue Jays. Any more fouls by the Bulldogs? Let's see if they can pull back their defensive intensity at all.
Rumbaugh now kicks to the corner, gets it back, a little give and go, pays off. 3-ball corner pocket for Tatum Rumbaugh, and she's in double figures with 11.
Now Creighton finally getting on the board here in the second quarter, and it was a well-run, well-executed offensive set to get it for him.
Spolier now working on Sarda. Tough toss to the wing there, but gathered by Toure. She takes it herself on the right hand now, draws the foul, can't get the roll, but good aggressive play on offense by Umu Toure to get to the bucket.
Toure, we mentioned it in the open, coming off a team-high 14 points at Providence on Friday. And we talked to Coach about her and asked if she's performed to expectations or beyond. And he said, really, she might be the brightest spot on the team this year because of what she has done. He said, quite frankly, when she got there, when she showed up to campus, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready for Division I basketball, and it showed. But to make the transition, he has been thrilled with what she has been able to provide this team. And that showed on Friday night, and it showed right there with that possession.
Yeah, she was shooting just 32% from the three-point line coming into that contest, but knocked down a career-high 3 trays in the win on Friday night. So feeling good on offense for her as well. Inbound now to Carly Bachelor from Temi Sarda. Bachelor doing a nice job so far this afternoon of maintaining possession, using her body to get herself a little space as Rumbaugh draws the foul on the slash, and she'll have a shot at the line.
Now you can see the aggressiveness there by Rumbaugh, which wasn't apparent on Friday night. We mentioned it. She missed 8 games. You completely understand when you miss 8 games and you look at her left knee with that big brace on her left knee, coming back after missing over a month of action. She was a little bit hesitant on Friday night. Today looks much more aggressive, has gotten back into the flow of offense and already over her season average. There you see that brace.
Yeah, just 24 minutes played, just 5 points, a little rusty on Friday, but making her 24th career start. Doing it in fine fashion here, leading the way for all scorers with 13 points in this first half. Butler on the outside edge. Caceres trying to get it in for Bry. Good defensive activity here from the Jays, but nice shot by Atuso to get into the lane and find an open space. Now Parker with the steal, gets it back outside to Bry. Atuso once again with a look. Spolier looking to beat Rembau to the baseline, but she's cut off. We'll slow it down now. Will Butler on offense.
Yeah, they've got some great offensive sets. Let's see what they run here.
Parker from outside buries it.
That's
Big
a nice
three for Genesis Parker, who has struggled offensively. Just 3 of her last 24 field goals coming in to this contest, 12.5%. So a big shot for her to knot things up at 27.
Well, that's why the Blue Jays were off of her, because of that poor shooting recently. So they were following the scouting report as they should have been.
All kinds of contact. Batchelor slices to the rack for 2.
Well, you can see on the defense there by Butler that they get so high out pressuring the ball that left the interior open underneath for the finish down low by Batchelor.
Yeah, the Bulldogs smell blood in the water a little bit on the outside edge there, getting that pressure with that length on the perimeter. And Creighton trying to use some nuances to get themselves some space in the lane. It's there if you can get by your defender, but they just have not been able to create that space very often here in this first half, and that's a credit to a Butler defense that's been solid all season long. 10 on the shot clock now. Kick out to Caceres for 3 from the wing. Banked in and down. The Jays now back the other way. Alger with the left-handed lay-in puts Creighton back out in front.
Well, Creighton got the ball inbound quickly, so Butler couldn't set up in their press, and that was what was important to converting and getting back on offense for the Jays.
Bry with her back to the basket. Passes off to Atuso for 3 more. And the hot shooting continues for these two teams.
And it's almost as if both teams realize the longer they dribble the ball, the harder it's going to be to get offense going.
Batchelor draws the foul down low, and she'll have 2 shots from the free throw line. It's been really impressive on both sides, but when you look at the three-point shooting, 4 threes already made by Butler in this game, surpassing their average for the season. And they're in front here midway through the second quarter in Omaha.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
I got the power, gonna raise it up so high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, we got to raise it up.
Back here in Omaha, the Butler Bulldogs leading the home Blue Jays. There you see a lot of girls out of uniform for Creighton. We talked about Jalen Agnew earlier, but next to her on the left there is Peyton Brodsky, the Nebraska native, who's also out with injury, and Rachel Saunders sitting out as well. So this team really hurt by some of the offensive production, losing more than 11 points per game coming into this one.
Oh, Saunders better than 9 points per game. She's their second leading rebounder. So Creighton playing out there right now without their top 2 rebounders, and they're playing without an important role player, Peyton Brodsky, as well. And there you see Temi Sarda picking up the slack for missing some of that scoring out there. It's Sarda and Rembau really picking up for missing those players, but that's tough. I mean, you come into Saunders and Brodsky both played on Friday night, but they both suffered injuries in that game, unable to go today. Agnew, we talked about throughout that she's been out the last couple of games, so Creighton having to play with a very shortened roster and against a team as ferocious as Butler. You got to wonder if that kind of activity that Butler is showing on the press and even on defense in the half-court offensive sets for Creighton, it's going to add up, you think, at the end of this game if you're only playing an 8-person rotation.
Not hurting the enthusiasm of the fans as we saw there, but Butler offensively has been really effective, shooting 12 of 17 from the field so far, and that has to play a part in the lack of depth for the Jays. You're missing almost 40 minutes in a single game between Brodsky and Saunders' minutes coming into this one, and Butler really on the offensive, seeing a little bit of inexperience on the defensive end and trying to take advantage.
So you're missing 2 ball handlers as well, and Saunders can handle it, and Agnew obviously very good at breaking the press. And the other end, when Butler is scoring and getting set up in defense, so shooting 70%, they're making a lot more than they're missing, so that allows them to set up their press. So that is what makes them so dangerous, and that's why they've got themselves a lead on the road here.
Well, Butler knocks down the free throw, 5 points and 4 boards for her, on pace for another double-double. It would be her second in a row, doing a nice job here in a full-time role this afternoon. Bride down in the post, working on Parham, swatted away by the freshman.
The athleticism by Parham apparent there, the 6'2" freshman coming away with the block and rebound.
Alger to Butler on the wing, no good short, good box out by Catherine Strong. Parker now across the timeline to set things up. Another moving screen whistled, this time on Shea Bride.
Now that one I think going on Strong, and that's her third.
It will be Strong, it will be her third. It looked like a 23 from across the court, but my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Strong will take a seat. She's surprised her second moving screen violation of this first half. Trying to get an explanation from the official, but unsuccessful. So Butler a little short-handed in the front court as well, as she'll sit down for what will likely be the remainder of the first half. Rembow in the corner working on Bride, gets into the middle of the lane, nice kick out. Eventually into the arms of Olivia Alger for 3.
That play all started in the opposite corner with Tatum Rembow getting Shea Bride off balance enough to get to the dribble penetration in the lane, kick it out to Parham, and that extra pass for that 3-pointer. Beautiful execution by the Jays.
Jays back in front, another swat by Parham on the defensive end. The freshman making an impact in the post. Rembow now looking for Alger again off the screen. Caceres switches that length on the perimeter. A lot of switching screens from both sides so far this afternoon, and that will likely be the plan throughout. Good pass there to Butler from Alger, who finds an open bucket. Freshman delivers.
Yeah, Alger looked like she almost lost control of that ball on the way up, but smacked it over to Brodsky, or excuse me, to Butler for the bucket.
To the corner now, Toure looking for space, 10 on the shot clock. Once again, good pass down low from Caceres, but missing the layup is Bride. It'll stay with Butler as the Jays unable to corral the rebound. Great vision, though, from Caceres on the wing.
Yeah, great ball movement. Everything, that ball did everything on the rim but go through it.
Caceres back up on top, looking into the corner for Spolier, who has not been active in this second quarter very often, but foul on Temi Sarda there as Spolier was inhibited by a little jersey tug coming off of that screen down low.
2 fouls now on Sarda. She's the only Blue Jay with multiple fouls.
And she'll have to be really careful here to finish off these final 2 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised to see Butler go to Spolier as much as possible here to finish off the first half. Sarda, as we mentioned, needs to play the full duration with that limited bench, and Spolier takes advantage there with an easy bucket down low.
Spolier back into double figures after missing that double figure mark on Friday night, back where she's used to being.
yet to miss from the field. Rembow throws one up, no good. Rebound by Toure, and the Bulldogs will have an opportunity to tie or take the lead here with under 90 seconds to play in the half. Bryant, top all alone for three, no good. Rebound by Sarda.
Bryant, only her 10th three-point attempt of the season. She's knocked down for 4 of her first 9, but that's not her typical game.
Sarda now to the baseline, loses the handle, out of bounds. It'll stay with the Jays. Quick substitution here to get Parham a breather. A nice hand for her. Defensively, really making an impact here in this second quarter.
Absolutely. A couple of blocks and came down with the rebounds on those blocks. Really helping the Blue Jays with those short bench.
Bachelor trying to create it off the dribble on the wing now. Under 10 on the shot clock. Elger off the double screen. Nowhere to go for Griglione. Elger has to throw it up. Beats the shot clock. No chance at the rim there. And all alone on the other end is Toure for the layup. And we're knotted up with under 40 seconds to play in the half. That's a defensive lapse by the Jays.
And a really smart play, though, by Toure, because she knew that the shot was going to have to go up. And likely it's going to be wild. She leaked out and got the easy bucket.
Elger will slow things down. About a 5-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock here to end this first half. Sarda holds. Working on Genesis Parker. Jays trying to space the floor as best they can here as Rembow comes off for the screen. They'll switch it as Toure comes up with the steal. Poked away from her now. 5 left in the first half. Sarda throws up a wild 3, no good, out of bounds. And the buzzer sounds. So after 20 minutes of hard-fought action here in Omaha, we're back to even up, 37 apiece. Can't beat the buzzer, and the Blue Jays will regroup in the locker room along with the Bulldogs. Great one on tap here at DJ Sokol Arena. More coming back from Omaha. Back here at halftime, Creighton and Butler in action in Omaha. This weekend marks the 4th edition of Fox College Basketball All Access. Tonight at 6:30 on FS1, Seton Hall will take on St. John's at Walsh Gym, and both head coaches will be mic'd up for the duration of the limited commercial production. Fox Sports will also take viewers inside huddles, into the locker room, pre- and post-game, and much more. This week on Big East Fast Break, Megan Caffrey caught up with Tony Bozella and Joe Tardamella ahead of their all-access matchup.
Ahead of Sunday's St. John's Seton Hall All-Access game on FS1 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm joined with the head coaches of both of those teams, Johnny's head coach Joe Tardamella and Pirates head coach Tony Bozella. Coach B, Coach T, you guys have both coached in an all-access game before. What is this experience like?
Go ahead, Tony. It is. It's a little nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. You're always thinking of what not to say as opposed to what to say, to be honest with you. But it's a great experience, and I think it gives the viewers a tremendous opportunity to see what coaching is really like. You know, the timeouts, the strategy during the game, halftime, pregame. I think it's just a great experience.
Yeah, I think probably 4 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever we both agreed to do the first one ever, I'm not sure we probably knew what we were getting into at that time, but certainly it was an exciting game to be a part of. It's an interesting game as a coach because you're really mindful of kind of what you're saying and what you're doing, but I think at the end of the day, you realize you got to just coach the way you would coach any other game, and I feel a little bit better about that than I probably did in the first game that we did years ago. And then just seeing it done over time. But it's a great way to give exposure to the game and I think it's only going to continue to get better and give fans more access, and that seems to be what the new wave of where things have been going with how to interact with the game and how to be or how to show different sides of game-like situations to fans.
Coach Tarmella, you mentioned it right there. You and Coach Bozzella were the first to coach in this. Back in 2016, you guys had the first all-access game. How cool is it to see how much this has gotten a lot of traction, that now the men's side of things are doing it as well?
I think it's great. I mean, they came to both of us with the idea, and we were happy to do it. I think we're both a little probably hesitant in ways, but to see that it's still going on means that we did something right, and they did something right. And I know the people at Fox and Steve Shear especially has done a great job in being able to promote it. And so to watch now some of the men's coaches, and they've probably asked Tony and I both about our experience with it before they've done it. So, I think it's pretty amazing to see. And again, I think it gives different coaches or fans different views of the coaches that they follow and the programs that they follow. And I think it brings a different dimension to how you watch a game. So it's been exciting to know that we were part of the first one.
We had talked to the two of you back at Media Day about this all-access game and how fun, especially with this matchup between St. John's and Seton Hall, because it's a great rivalry and you do have a lot of the same players who have grown up playing against one another. So how unique is it for this rivalry to get the all-access game?
I think that's what makes it special. I mean, we have so much respect for St. John's and how well they do. And I mean, look at all the success Joe's had and obviously Kim before him. But, it's a great game because, it's the biggest, I think the biggest rivalry in the Big East. I mean, we're close to each other. We recruit a lot of the same players. We're both really competitive teams. We're competitive coaches. And I just love playing them because of who they are and what they've brought and the bar they've raised that we have to, make sure we, do our best to be competitive.
Yeah, I think, every game you play is in a league, in league play is pretty, I would say, competitive, contentious. There's going to be days where you're playing really well and days where you don't. And certainly when you've got an opportunity, because of the way we play in our schedule, you're playing Friday, Sunday, the rhythm to that is very different as we've gone through the last few years. So when you've got a little bit more time and you've got that bye week, especially against your travel partner, so to speak, in that week, you're trying to make sure that everything is ready, it's in place, and certainly both teams know each other probably better than any team they're going to play because of that. So you've got more time to prepare. You're not talking about maybe a day and a half. So along with the proximity of being able to know the players in most programs that obviously we've watched play over time, along with others that are a part of that, it certainly adds to that piece of the competitiveness.
A ton of competition to look forward to. What else can everyone look forward to this Sunday?
I think a great atmosphere. We're really promoting it. I know St. John's always brings a lot of fans, and it's going to be a really close to a sellout. We're excited for that. Our administration is really pushing it really hard. I know, like I said, Joe's fans travel really well. I think you're going to see a lot of scoring. I mean, both these are two of the better scoring teams in the league. I think, this is the halfway part of the year. So, you want to finish it strong. I said, this is the women's basketball game of the week. I really believe that. And, of the weekend, I should say. And it'll be exciting for everyone.
Yeah, and obviously, hopefully, being at a 6:30 time, that we've got better viewership and being able to push through some of the things that may be on during the day. So, as Tony said, it's not, when you go there, it's obviously a very unique atmosphere, and the fans are, it's loud, people are on you, they pack it out, it's good. I mean, it's a great atmosphere to play in. And so it'll be definitely an exciting game, obviously with some pace, as Tony and I would believe. But yeah, so I think that, it'll be an exciting game for people to see, and hopefully I don't get, bleeped too much, and nor does Tony, or we're not, on the court at all times. So no, but it'll be good. I think, again, it's a great matchup, and it's a big game for obviously both teams, and as we move forward in the league. So as Tony said, it's the halfway mark for both of us at this point, because this is the last game of our round robin. And then we continue to push on. So no, it'll be exciting. I think, fans will enjoy the style of play and hopefully the personalities that are involved.
Well, back in 2016, it surely was extremely fun to watch you guys. Both of these coaches will be mic'd up at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Coach Tartamel, Coach Bozzella, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
I got the power, gonna raise it up so high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, we got to raise it up.
Back here in Omaha, Nebraska, as Creighton and Butler have played 20 minutes to a 37-all draw in this one. A back-and-forth contest offensively, Rob. A lot more highlights than we expected to see in this contest on offense. And let's take a look at some of these in the early going for Creighton, especially Tatum Rembau and Temi Sarda leading the way.
Well, and it's really important for Creighton that Rembau is getting back into a rhythm after missing better than a month, missing 8 games, and Rembau leading all scorers right now with 13 points. She knocked down 3 triples in the first half. That already equals a career high.
I see the last of them right there. Sarda as well, 8 points coming off a career high 26 her last time out. But defensively, the pressure leading to points for the Bulldogs throughout this first half.
Yeah, you saw Shea Bride just finishing there. She had a pair of steals, 6 total steals for Butler in the first half, led to 11 points for the Bulldogs there in the opening half. And Spolier has not missed from the field in this one. She leads her team with 11 points at the half.
Yeah, for the Bulldogs, big to see her doing good things on the offensive end. And a benefit of a couple of rolls there from Butler as well. You see Carly Batchelor here. She's been key for Creighton as well. 7 points, 4 boards in the early going.
Yeah, Jay's just trying to figure out a way to beat this Butler pressure. When they have been able to, they've been successful, but Butler is so good at setting up on their defense after a made bucket.
So let's take a look at some of the numbers here from this first half as both teams make their way back to the floor here to warm up for the second half. Look at that field goal percentage from Butler, 58.3%. They've already hit 4 from long range, doing a little bit of everything. 10 turnovers, really the only thing that has hurt them so far in this contest has been their inability to find that rhythm in transition on offense.
Yeah, absolutely, that 58%. Remember, this is a team we talked about grinding out a 50-47 win at Providence. They shot 25% in that one. They made 15 field goals the entire game in that one. They hit 14 here in the first half, so they found their offense between Omaha and Providence. Creighton, on the other hand, they've upped their offense from the slugfest that they went through with Xavier on Friday night as well. And both teams, you said it, playing better on offense than we expected. Not to say the defense hasn't been there, but both teams' offenses have made adjustments to find the rare holes on the defense on the other side.
Yeah, the turnovers, a big key there as well. Creighton second in the country in fewest turnovers per game. They've already turned it over 7 times, so well on pace to break that mark in a bad way. If you're the Bulldogs, though, doing a nice job speeding up the pressure with some of that inexperience having to play extra time on the floor. It's been an interesting finish here to the first half. Teams going back and forth throughout. We should have a great one on tap here in Omaha as they finish warm-ups here at DJ Sokol Arena. Creighton and Butler. The second half is on the way next.
Every time you show up, every time you make your loyalties clear, whether you're here for the memories that last a lifetime or the dance that happens just once a year. Whether you ride for the Cinderella or go all in for the legendary comeback. However you choose to be a fan, you make the game, and they make history. March 20th and 22nd in Omaha, Nebraska. Nothing beats the crowd. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets to get your seats today.
I'm from Chicago, Cleveland,
Phoenix, Milwaukee,
Hartford,
Colorado, Oklahoma,
Thailand,
Norway, Cameroon.
and I chose
I chose Xavier University.
for business, chemical science,
Occupational therapy,
philosophy, politics, and the public.
computer science.
because it felt like home.
I knew I would be welcome.
Because they take care of veterans.
I felt connected to the campus, to the people.
The sports.
I came here to be a musketeer,
And now,
And now,
I am.
I am.
I am.
All for one.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
I got the power, gonna raise it up so high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, we got to raise it up.
Well, back here in Omaha, Nebraska, halftime coming to a close here between the Bulldogs and Blue Jays as Butler wraps up their warm-ups here for the second half. Jim Flannery addressing his team in the huddle here before they get started for this third quarter. Rob, what are the keys for Creighton here as we move into the second half of this contest?
I think, obviously, shutting down the Butler offense, but even more so, taking care of the basketball, having a sense of urgency after those made baskets by Butler to get the ball in quickly and get themselves open. When Butler has had a chance to get set up in their press, they have been really dangerous there. And for the Bulldogs, continue to execute on offense like they have been at a higher level than they have seen throughout the season. If they can continue to do that, continue to feed Spolier, let her do her thing and get contributions from across the board, which they're getting right now. Everybody who played for the Bulldogs there in the first half with at least one field goal. If Creighton can continue to fight through that that Bulldog defense, that's how they're gonna come away with the win. Bulldogs, they just keep fighting, scrapping.
Now first possession of this third quarter, down to Spolier for the start. First missed field goal for her from beyond the arc this time, and the Jays will try to see what adjustments they can make on offense to continue their success from the early going.
But what a great play by Butler to get her an open three to start the half.
Sarda now with Toure into the wing now. Batchelor cut off on the baseline. That's a big part of their defense. Butler will try to draw you in and get the help. That's what Jim Flannery told us coming into this matchup, and you saw that come into play there early in the third quarter.
Yeah, they do such a good job of cutting off the baseline and really taking away that space down there.
Spolier on the kick out, foul on the floor. Whistled on Olivia Alger.
Alger getting the arm of Spolier as they collapsed on her down low, and she wisely kicked it out for an open look, but was fouled before that. But yeah, that defensive possession by the Bulldogs collapsing on the baseline, causing another turnover by the Blue Jays.
Spolier now working on Sarda, trying to get to the bucket. Caceres now open for three. High arcing shot. Drains into the bucket. Good start for her to open the third quarter.
Caceres now 3 for 3 from three-point range. Coming into today, a 29% shooter. She had only knocked down 10 all year long, and another steal.
Now takeaway there, Caceres, the beneficiary. Spolier now, you could call her one as well. Drains a three as well, and a timeout called by Jim Flannery of the Jays, out of sorts to begin the second half. Nice job by Butler to force a turnover there early. And you mentioned Caceres knocking down 3 of those from beyond the arc, one of them off the bank, so you could tell that has been a difference as Butler takes an early lead in the third quarter over the Jays. Back with more in Omaha next. Bulldogs off to a hot shooting start here to open quarter number 3. Back-to-back trays forcing the Blue Jays' hand, calling a timeout. There's Coach Godlewski addresses his team, but offensively Butler from beyond the arc, we didn't expect much. They certainly surpassed anyone's expectations coming in.
Well, coming into today, just 22% from three-point range in league play. They've already hit 6 today. That's the most they've hit in any Big East Conference game this season. Previously it was 5, and they had to take 20 shots from 3 to get that on Friday night. So unusual shooting performance for Butler, but you credit their defense leading to those open looks there, especially that second triple we just saw knock down. The press getting set up again after the initial make, and then coming back with the next 3, and that's a quick burst for the Bulldogs out of the half.
Yeah, Kristen Spolier finding her form once again here in Omaha. 14 points now, leads all scorers, 5 of 6 from the field. Coming off a 3-point shot there as well. Just 2 opportunities on the night for her. Another scramble, another steal for Toure coming in from beyond the timeline and lays it up and in on the Euro step. So 8 straight for the Bulldogs coming out of the half. Trouble again for Rembau, loses it in the middle, but a foul called on Spolier, and Coach Godlewski is beside himself there with frustration.
Well, I cannot think of a better nickname for this squad than the Bulldogs, because the way that they play on defense, they are just getting after it right now. And
another deflection results in a jump ball there as Rembau has it tipped away from her there from behind. The Jays will retain possession, but those inbound struggles continue.
This could be a long second half for Creighton if they can't figure out that press.
Alger just trying to get herself open on the wing, unable to be seen, but Rembau drains the first bucket of the half for the Blue Jays and try to settle things down.
Well, that tells you about their offensive struggles. We're better than 2 minutes into the half, and that was their first attempt from the field because they had 3 turnovers prior to that. They hadn't even gotten an offensive possession where they had an attempted shot.
Spolier now into the lane on Sarda, batted away. Griglione picks it up. Sarda will try to get the offense settled now. Alger finds herself alone at the elbow and drains the jump shot.
And those are big shots by Creighton too. Not easy shots the last 2 times down, but really important to keep within striking distance after Butler really blitzed the Blue Jays out of timeout with those first 8 points.
Parker to the rim now. Foul on the floor on Rembau. Her second foul this afternoon. Parker, that quick first step, able to get to the rim and create her own shot offensively. Something Coach Godlewski loves about his guard. Another foul now, this time on Butler, trying to fight her way around the screen.
Yeah, holding on to Caceres there as she was getting away from her.
Posting up now as Bry kicks it out to Parker. Open from 3, misses this time. Rebound tracked down by Basser with the left hand. Diving attempt to save it. Can't do it, does keep it in bounds, but the Bulldogs maintain possession. Parker into the open floor now in the middle. Spollier bodying up on Sarda, no good short. Good verticality from Sarda defensively there to keep Spollier intact. Elger now from outside, misses well short.
Hectic pace here to start the second half. Bodies flying. A lot of communicating out there on defense. You can see the fight on both sides.
Seems like every pass on both ends of the floor is in jeopardy. Now tracked down by Butler, going the other way. By herself on Parker. Goes up for the lay-in and good. Strong take by the freshman.
Really impressed with the wing player ability. You see her looking around, seeing if her teammates are going to join her. She says, you know what, I'll go ahead and take it. She had the size advantage on Parker, who's at 5'8". Butler at 6 foot tall, and good execution by the freshman to just take it in.
So 6 straight points for the Jays, and Shea Bry snaps that string with a 3-pointer of her own. Good answer for Butler as Creighton had started to create some momentum. Nice job breaking the press now, 3-on-2 offensively for the Jays, but Butler is swatted away by Caceres. Creighton had a little more success the last couple times down the floor, finding an open body in the middle. But whenever they wait just a second to gather the ball in the lower corner on the far baseline, they're really having trouble.
Yeah, that trap is coming quickly for Butler, and it's so long, it's hard to pass out of.
Rembow to Butler, back to Rembow in the corner. Nice job finding space for the floater, no good. Tipped around, Parham unable to gather, but more activity from the freshman on the front court.
Well, better news for Creighton after turning the ball over 3 times on their first 3 offensive possessions. They've been able to knock down a few more recently, but Butler continuing to execute on offense this half.
Good job by Pryor to get around the screen defensively there. Into the middle is Spollier flying through the lane, no good. And a jump ball called there as Spollier jumped in after the miss. Butler had gathered possession, but Spollier snuck in there at the end. The officials give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, really quick whistle on that tie-up. And that's why you hear the home crowd upset about it.
Open for 3 from the wing. Atuso knocks it down. So the Bulldogs with serious bite from outside. And they stretch that lead back to 8. Rembow not stopped until the end, but Caceres again with that length, forcing another turnover. And Spollier on the baseline with an offensive foul. Sarda again taking the charge for Creighton.
That one, I'm not so sure about that one. I think Creighton benefiting there. You see Sarda trying to get established.
A chicken wing there on the left, the left arm for Spollier gets the whistle. Back and forth we go here in Omaha. The Bulldogs up 7 on the Blue Jays.
Every time you show up, every time you make your loyalties clear, whether you're here for the memories that last a lifetime or the dance that happens just once a year, whether you ride for the Cinderella or go all in for the legendary comeback, however you choose to be a fan, you make the game, and they make history. March 20th and 22nd in Omaha, Nebraska. Nothing beats the crowd. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets to get your seats today.
I'm from Chicago.
Cleveland.
Phoenix, Milwaukee,
Hartford,
Colorado, Oklahoma,
Thailand,
Norway. Cameroon.
and I chose
I chose.
I chose Xavier University.
for business, chemical science,
Occupational therapy.
philosophy, politics, and the public.
Computer science.
because it felt like home.
I knew I would be welcome.
Because they take care of veterans.
I felt connected to the campus, to the people.
The sports.
I came here to be a musketeer,
And now,
And now,
I am.
I am.
I am.
All for one.
Back here in Omaha, Butler leading the Blue Jays by 8 points after another hot start to the second half. Looking ahead at their schedule here coming up, the Bulldogs with another opportunity on BEDN here. Coming up on Friday against Xavier, that's a home contest, a 7 o'clock Eastern time start. And then you see down there on Valentine's Day at DePaul, Rob, if they can pull off a win here on the road to move to 5-0 in conference play, that DePaul matchup could really be big coming down the stretch here.
Yeah, they're looking like they're in good shape right now, but yeah, they're finishing the first half of conference play with a chance to go undefeated on the road. Then you see Creighton, not an easy road ahead either. They have to make that really difficult road swing through the Midwest, DePaul and Marquette next weekend. That's a tough one to start the second half of play for the Jays.
Yeah, when you consider today's matchup with the second place team and then the conference leader and another second place team in 3 straight games, this is an important stretch for the Jays. Not the best time to be banged up, but trying to find some answers now here in the third quarter to stay in this one.
Zone action thrown up by Butler.
Steal right away by Atuso. Good jump stop, but Bachelor swats it away and maintains possession herself. Across the timeline and taken away by Toure, and Bachelor ultimately whistled for another foul. So the scramble drill continues on offense for Creighton.
So those last 30 seconds, we just saw Creighton's 6th and 7th turnover of the half already. We're 5.5 minutes in. They turned the ball over 7 times the entire first half. Here's an incredible stat. Of the 14 points Butler has scored in this half, 11 have come directly off of Creighton turnovers. Creighton, you mentioned it, it came into the week 2nd in the nation in fewest turnovers per game. They are already 3 over their season average, and Butler is looking to add more.
Rembaugh checks back in after that last series. A quick breather for her. A lot of minutes in just her second game back from knee injury. Atuso again for 3.
And you can't blame Creighton for thinking that's not part of the scouting report. This is a team that came in shooting 22% from long range in conference play. Today, 64%.
9 of 14 from long range for the Bulldogs. That basket gets bigger and bigger as this game goes on.
Gotta love when the shooting is contagious.
Biggest lead of the ball game for either side now as the Bulldogs in front by 11. Trying to find some rhythm offensively for Creighton now. Rembaugh, a good place to start. Sarda for 3 from the wing, knocks it down.
Feels like every shot for Creighton is so important right now because they just aren't getting many up. That was just their 7th field goal attempt. They already have 7 turnovers this half. It's been such a struggle for Creighton on offense because Butler's defense is just swarming.
Spollier now kicks it opposite side to Caceres in traffic, rims out. Rembaugh starts the transition offense. Alger ahead to Sarda, who's 3 of 3 from long range now. Calling for a screen. Pick and roll game worked well early on for Creighton, in the first quarter especially. Trying to get back to that a little bit now. Alger on Spollier into the lane, left-handed floater off the glass is good.
A strong take, aggressive take by the 5th-year senior for the Blue Jays.
Back-to-back big buckets for the Blue Jays to hang in there, try to weather that offensive storm by the Bulldogs. Spolier now trying to answer on her own. No good off the back iron. Offensive rebound now for Butler. These teams even in those numbers now. An offensive foul now charged by one official and a travel called on the other. So it'll be a turnover regardless, but they'll call it a traveling violation, save the offensive foul. And that could be important. One thing we have not mentioned in the second half, we misspoke by saying that Butler's Catherine Strong had 3 fouls in the first half. She actually had 4. She was playing with 3. So you have not seen her yet in the third quarter, and that's why, trying to keep her on the bench. Bucket and the foul in the lane for Tatum Rembaugh, and the Jays clawing their way back into it on the offensive glass.
Yeah, and they are going to not only count the basket, but the foul was away from the ball. So that's going to give Creighton another possession. I can't believe that they allowed the shot to count. The whistle seemed like it came before, but a benefit for the home squad there for sure.
So Sarda with position now and trying to angle her way into the lane. Back off the fade on the screen. No good long. Her first miss from long range and a touch foul on Tatum Rembaugh now. And the Jays have answered with a 7-0 run since trailing by their largest margin of the afternoon. Chloe Dworak will check in as Olivia Alger takes a seat.
Yeah, Alger going to the bench. That's the 5th foul, so we've got free throws now for the Bulldogs. We should mention on that previous possession for the Blue Jays that on that follow-up by Rembaugh, away from the basketball was the foul. It was Spolier, so Spolier now has 3 for the Bulldogs. Another thing to keep an eye on there. That would be a wonderful sign to this home squad, or this home fans, if Spolier's off the court as much as she can be.
2 made free throws for the Bulldogs. You don't want to put Butler on the line. As a team, 6th nationally in made free throws coming into this afternoon. Parker delivers on a pair to settle things down for Butler. Parham now looking back door, nobody open. Dworak trying to find space, under 10 on the shot clock now. Sarda to the corner for Dworak, open jump shot, nice job on the fake, unable to convert. Parker will cross midcourt now for Butler. Big minutes defensively here now for Chloe Dworak, as well as giving away a little size against the length. Trying to switch screens defensively is a problem when you have that kind of mismatch. Parker from long range rims out. Good shot under control there for her, but unable to convert. Rembaugh now looking baseline, sucked in, nowhere to go. Batchelor able to escape. Good ball movement, but tipped out of bounds by Toure, saving an open shot opportunity there by Chloe Dworak.
Absolutely right. You saw the defense on the other side being aggressive, and that got them unbalanced defensively. But Toure's tip of the basketball there prevented a wide open look as Creighton had an open shooter on the opposite side.
Under a minute now remaining in the third quarter. 10 on the shot clock for Creighton. Into the lane, Sarda long off the floater, no good. Butler will slow things down now. Here is about 7 seconds difference between the shot clock and game clock. Toure will handle it, the freshman. So good getting into the lane. Parker now working on Dworak. Foul called on the floor, and free throws coming.
Oh, you mentioned it. They get to the free throw line a lot. They don't shoot particularly outstanding there, 68%, but the fact that they get there so often is what is important, and that's part of their game. They are constantly attacking the basket. They are constantly close by, and that's why they get those fouls called for them, and it's just part of their plan of attack.
Coach Godlewski lining up the troops here for the final Jays possession of the third quarter. Parker knocks down both once again, so an 8-point lead again for the Bulldogs. Rembaugh now up ahead to Alger. 10 seconds left here in the quarter. Sarda will take it. Floater up and good for Creighton. Nice job getting to the bucket. No shot attempt from Spolier. And Butler with a 6-point lead over the Jays, trying to claw their way back in. Nice job, late possession, and the sophomore delivers. Back with more here from Omaha next.
We're all in, all together. Great voices ready to start, great energy. We're getting excited about what we do, all right? You know how together you are. You know how hard you're going to work, but you also know how good you are. Let's go show them. 1, 2, 3. Together!
This is our time.
When we bring it together and we all locked in, we coming back in this locker room with a victory.
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
The amount of student loan debt I have, I'm embarrassed to even say.
I felt like I was going to spend my whole adult life paying this off.
Thanks to SoFi, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As of 12 p.m. today, I am debt-free.
We have no debt, we don't owe anybody anything, and it's fantastic.
I got the power, gonna raise it up so high, we're shining brighter. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We got the power, gonna raise it up. We're running ahead, we got to raise it up.
Butler's lead trimmed by a point by the officiating here in the meantime. A 5-point lead now. 3-pointer from the corner here ruled a 2 now. Foot on the line. So Butler with a 5-point lead, playing well. Some other Big East Conference women's basketball players who had themselves a pretty good week right here. Some standout performers, and it's not a fluke for any of these young women.
Yeah, Shante Stonewall, another candidate for player of the year in the conference, leading the way on that Big East leading DePaul team. And we've talked about how good Spolier is. You've seen how good Spolier is. And Maddie Segrist is, they can just give her the award right now. They just keep this slide in here every week, it seems like, because she is just running away with Big East Freshman of the Year. Outstanding for Harry Perretta in his last season there at Villanova.
Yeah, a big reason why they have been so successful so far. Part of that cluster of 6 teams tied for second place, but Spolier trying to lead the Bulldogs to another win here to finish the first half of the season 6-3 in conference play.
Spolier coming in here to the fourth quarter does have those 3 fouls. Did finally cool off a little bit after not missing a field goal in the first half. She's 5 for 9, leading the way for her squad with 14 points here.
Jays will have possession to open quarter number 4. Alger dealing with the length of Toure. So active defensively, the Bulldogs. Hands everywhere. You see Toure again on Alger. Now down to 5 on the shot clock. Rembaugh into the lane looking for the floater, has it tipped away again. Contact 3 times there on that defensive possession alone on the basketball. This one rims out no good. Sarda trying to corral the rebound in transition, unable to do so, and whistled for the foul. Toure again in on the action. We talked to Coach Godlewski going into this game, a nose for the ball, and I'd say that's proven to be as true as anything he could have promised coming in.
Well, Toure obviously coming up with the ball there and getting her hands on a lot of passes, a lot of possessions by the Blue Jays, but it's almost like this entire squad has a nose for the ball. It's been so impressive how active they are on defense.
Spolier now into the lane on Dworak. Lays it up and in for two.
Well, you see Creighton had to pull Sarda away from guarding Spolier because she did pick up that third foul, so then you get an even bigger mismatch by putting a different player on her.
Now Rembo now open from the wing, cashes in for three. Big answer from Rembo.
Well, again, Creighton started this half with 2 turnovers right away, but when they finally get a shot up, more times than not, they're knocking it down today right at that 50% mark.
Efficiency from Tatum Rembo, 7 of 10 from the field for a game-high 20 points as Toure misses everything out of bounds.
Yeah, Rembo missed those 8 games between December 14th and Friday night. A little hesitant coming back on Friday, and all of a sudden she's got 20 points on those 7 for 10, just 2 points shy of a career best.
Rembo handles the inbound again. So that lead of Butler's now down to 4 points. Opportunity to cut into it a little more here as well. 15 on the shot clock once again, as the Jays try to set up their offense. Rembo to the rack, swatted away by Bry, but a foul on Parker on the baseline as Temi Sarda gathered the rebound.
You know, Shea Bry with that block, we haven't said her name a lot, and her numbers never really jump off the screen, but she's one of those players that's been there for 4 years. It feels like she's one of those players that you feel like she's been there 6, 7, 8 years. She's just always involved in plays, and defensively, she's been all over the Jays today.
Yeah, speaking of which, on the ball there is Sarda able to come away with it, but a little contact there on the inbound. Parham on the baseline. Far wing for Sarda, misses short, no good. Parham bats the rebound out of bounds, and Butler will take over. Good offensive set there from the Jays, but Sarda unable to convert.
Good recognition by Parham, the freshman. She had a mismatch, the open look, but she kicked it out for another open look on the outside, just couldn't convert.
Bry down low for Spolier. This time Sarda back on her. This time the bucket and the foul.
And that's exactly what Butler wanted to do. And you saw it on the previous trip down. They pulled Sarda off of Spolier because you didn't want to pick up those fouls. Sarda did her best to stay straight up there, but Spolier, the crafty lefty, the senior, knows how to get to the line.
And the body position there from the start had Sarda sealed off. Can't convert the free throw, but still a big basket for the Bulldogs.
Sarda playing with 4 fouls.
Olivia Alger buries the 3 and cuts the deficit in half. Another big shot for the Jays from outside. And it's a 1-possession game. Bry looking for Spolier in the post again, this time working on Carly Batchelor. Spins into the middle to draw contact. Looked like she jumped right into Batchelor there, but gets the foul. Coach Flannery on the bench. We'd like to have a discussion about that one.
Well, there's a reason that Spolier, there's only 3 people in the entire country who have shot or made more free throws than her. And there's a reason why, because she does basketball plays like that, where she knows where her defender is. She knows if she does a little bit of a lean in, she's going to get the whistle, and she's strong. She's strong enough to take that and get to the free throw line.
And you can see Batchelor giving a little bit of space, not quite vertical with the lower half of her body on that play, and that's what Spolier took advantage of. Misses 3 straight free throws now, so some big misses at the line you don't see from the Butler star very often. Creighton unable to get the rebound as
Spolier, a 79% free throw shooter, and another quick whistle there. But you did see Bry with her hand on the ball, just tied it up long enough to get another possession for the Bulldogs.
Butler tried to take advantage. A block called now on Alger on the baseline. A couple of quick fouls called on her in this possession.
And now 4 fouls on Creighton in the first 3 minutes. Butler working their Butler formula to perfection here in Omaha.
Forcing turnovers and getting to the line. Caceres now, nice job on the jump stop. Lays it up and in for 2. She's been fantastic defensively, but offensively as efficient as it gets as well, shooting 50% from the field.
Toure, just an easy steal there by the freshman. Just those lengthy arms just poking the ball away from Rimbaugh.
Bry open, top of the key. Caceres into the post, kicks it out for Spolier. Into the lane with the floater, no good with the left hand.
The nose for the ball. Everyone, the Bulldogs with the nose for the ball right now.
Bry in the lane, throws up a wild one, no good. Foul whistled here on Spolier on the rebound, it looks like, as the officials will.
So now if that, we'll see if it goes on Spolier or if we'll get a double foul. But if it goes on Spolier, which it likely will, one of the fouls, that'll be her 4th. So that could be big news with 2 of the leading scorers for both sides in foul trouble.
Alger in the mix for Creighton there as well.
No, they are going to call it on Alger only.
Yeah, just 1. As he'll go explain to Jim Flannery, but certainly looked like a double foul situation on the glass. Both players in position, but the arm contact interlocked was the issue there.
And just looking at the expressions on the Blue Jays, this is what Butler does. They cause frustration. There is a lot of frustration on the Blue Jays' faces out there because of how tight the Bulldogs play defensively. It just really ruffles your feathers, if you will, if you're the Blue Jays.
Alger certainly feeling ruffled. 3 fouls in about the last minute and a half of game clock. I'll take another look at it here. Glenn Sisk in the pink shirt, Creighton Sports Information Director.
So that's 5 fouls now. That's why Spolier's heading to the line. 5 quick fouls for the Blue Jays. And now they're going to review the proceedings.
So slow down here in the action in Omaha as the officials try to sort this out. But certainly, as you mentioned, the length of Butler and the turnover forcing defense that they've showcased here is.
Well, there's a great replay, guys. Thanks for showing that. You could see, and that was a frustration foul, absolutely, on Alger. Had her left arm up. She's a lefty. Had her left arm up and shoved Spolier there. And does pick up that foul, rightfully so.
And Kristen Spolier just always around the basketball, always working hard. Paying dividends there with a couple of free throws. So she's back to the bottom of the net after missing a few. 7-point lead now with 6 to go. Creighton trying to cut into that, and a foul whistled on a two-so as Alger slashed through the lane. And the motion offense of Creighton just a little bit more limited with some of that inexperience and those extra minutes being played here in this contest. And not just any minutes either, those physical minutes, as you mentioned, really coming into play here in the fourth quarter.
And that's a great point, Thor. It's not just that you're playing more minutes because your bench is so short today. 3 Blue Jays that are typically in the rotation are out today. So you've got a shortened bench. So you're not only playing more minutes than you used to playing, but you're playing it against a team that has so much fight and they play such a tough style of basketball this is going to wear on the Jays down the stretch here.
Catherine Strong checking back into the game now for Butler. We haven't seen her yet in this second half, so some fresh legs on her end. 5 on the shot clock now for Sarda. Into the lane, kicks to Alger. Long three comes up short, no good. Rebound by Toure. Big defensive possession there for Butler. A chance to try to pull away here midway through the fourth quarter.
Well, now you got to think Butler's going to start to run some more set pieces to slow down the offense.
Spollier well short, but rebounded by Strong. Just 10 on the shot clock, though, as it did not hit the rim. Knocked out of bounds off Parham, according to the baseline official.
Yeah, both Strong and Parham there underneath the basket, both reaching for it, both near the end line, and they'll say it went off of Parham. But yeah, Strong picking up those 4 first-half fouls, so seeing her first action of the second half.
Shea Bry unable to convert the lob, and Creighton will try to push the pace and get an open shot before the defense sets up. Alger unable to convert. But your offense right now really has to come from beyond the arc when you look at the personnel who are in there to score. Sarda and Rembau and Alger. And traveling violation on the Bulldogs. So Creighton will have a moment to gather themselves and try to make a late push here in the fourth quarter. Under 5 minutes remaining in Omaha. The Bulldogs in control.
We're all in, all together. Great voices right at the start, great energy. We're getting excited about what we do, all right? You know how together you are. You know how hard you're going to work, but you also know how good you are. Let's go show them. 1, 2, 3. Together!
This is our time.
When we bring it together and we all locked in, we coming back in this locker room with a victory.
That's the Big East way. The 2020 Women's Basketball Tournament at Wintrust Arena. Get tickets now.
Every time you show up, every time you make your loyalties clear, whether you're here for the memories that last a lifetime or the dance that happens just once a year, whether you ride for the Cinderella or go all in for the legendary comeback, however you choose to be a fan, you make the game, and they make history. March 20th and 22nd in Omaha, Nebraska. Nothing beats the crowd. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets to get your seats today.
I'm from Chicago, Cleveland,
Phoenix, Milwaukee,
Hartford,
Colorado, Oklahoma,
Thailand,
Norway, Cameroon.
and I chose
Xavier University.
for business, chemical science,
Occupational therapy,
philosophy, politics, and the public.
computer science.
because it felt like home.
I knew I would be welcome.
Because they take care of veterans.
I felt connected to the campus, to the people.
The sports.
I came here to be a musketeer.
And now,
And now,
I am.
I am.
I am.
All for one.
So back here in Omaha, Butler in control, a 7-point lead on the Creighton Blue Jays home floor as we head to the home stretch now. They'll be in the bonus for the remainder of this contest. Doing a nice job of drawing some frustration fouls from the Blue Jays. Creighton has drawn 3 fouls from Butler as well, so still a couple away from the bonus. But moving forward, Rob, the offensive rhythm, a struggle for Creighton. How do they create some continuity on that end of the floor in these final 5 minutes?
Well, they're shooting above their season average, and they're shooting above their season average from three-point range as well. It's just they're thrown in taking care of the basketball. 17 turnovers. They average just about 11 per game. So those turnovers have been tough because of the length. So in order to do that, you mentioned it on the previous trip down, they got a quick shot off before Butler was able to get back and get set up. I wonder how much longer Kirk Godlewski is going to go before he goes back into a full court press. He's really pulled out of it, even though it caused a lot of frustration for Creighton. He's pulled back out of it. And I wonder if he'll go back to it if this game gets a little bit closer.
Yeah, you wonder if they'll do it off of made baskets only moving forward to try to give themselves a little bit of a breather and not give up any easy buckets. Sarda, speaking of which, an easy one for Carly Batchelor off the offensive rebound. Contested shot for Sarda, that length again, but Batchelor able to convert.
Yeah, Batchelor now back-to-back double-doubles, 11 points, 11 rebounds for the freshman.
Baseline for Spollier, throws up a wild one, but a foul whistled on Temi Sarda, and Jim Flannery can't believe it.
They call it on the body, so we'll see the replay here. Don't watch the hands. The hands, that's not where they called the foul. They called the foul on the body. So we'll see, and that's number 5 on Sarda. So they have time here for her to go out, and Coach Flannery talked about it before the game. I watched the body. A little bit of hip-to-hip action there, and again, whether you agree with the call or not, it's such a smart play by Kristen Spollier. She knows Sarda is crucial to the Blue Jay offense. She knows she's got 4 fouls, and that's just part of Spollier's game. Spollier's game is, I'm going to initiate contact and get myself to the line.
Yeah, Sarda trying to plead her case. But with the way the Jays are forced to play defense right now, Sarda ends up on Spollier down on the baseline, and Flannery's still frustrated. He was upset after the last call that Spollier drew, and this time adding to the frustration, losing one of their leading scorers. So a 7-point hill to climb for Creighton in the final 4 minutes of this contest.
Without one of their floor generals.
But if you're looking at the good news, 8 of the 13 wins for Creighton have come when they've eclipsed at least a 7-point deficit. And Tatum Rembow does her best to start that as well.
Well, Tatum says, you know what? We're missing Agnew. Sarda's fouled out. I'll just go off for a career high myself. 23 points. Every possession so important down the stretch here for both sides.
And Rembow will be heavily counted on late as Alger draws a foul on the moving screen, and now the Butler sideline is frustrated with the call.
Well, it's just one of those games. Both sides are so frustrated. Elger did a good job of selling this. I don't know if the contact was as severe as the result. Let's take a look. There's a little slap. Oh, my goodness. Boy, yeah. That's
fist contact on the face there.
Could result in some free throws.
They'll take a look at this one on the monitor.
They absolutely should take a look at it on the monitor.
Could have easily been incidental, but certainly contact from Spollier's right
but
fist.
But when you see that type of thing, usually the officials will go ahead and take a look. Little doubt.
Discussing it here, but you see.
Right fist connecting. I don't, we're not going to say there was intent there. She might have just been trying to run through being guarded. But regardless of intent, that's not what the officials are going to look for. They're going to look for the result. And they are now finally, after 30, 45 seconds, deciding to go over and take a look at it.
Well, the officials are just listening to the Big East Digital Network broadcast in their ear and decided
we did have the
might
replay.
Be a good decision.
Real quick. Good job, guys.
There's a look at a few different angles. You see the officials taking a look at it here. The interesting thing here is that her arm did not need to come up. She passed off and her arm was down at her side.
Right.
And so when her right arm comes up right away to make contact, that's where the problem is. She needs to swing her right arm to make contact for running, but that's not where you would put your hand in position if you're running through a screen. So certainly a valid review here from the officials.
And this play aside, this is a microcosm of this game. The fight, the frustration on both sides. You've seen both benches getting very animated at the calls and the non-calls that are going out there. It's a fight for positioning in the Big East. It's a fight for a win. It's a fight. Creighton trying to defend its home floor. 7-1 at home this year. Butler, we talked about in the open, 4-0 on the Big East road this season. They could finish the first half of conference play undefeated away from Indianapolis. What an achievement that would be for Kurt Godlewski and his team. And we'll see what the call is.
go over things here at midcourt.
But they are going to tell Butler to stay back, and looks like we're going to have free throws.
And it's an important moment now for Coach Godlewski not to lose his cool, or for the Bulldogs not to lose theirs as well, because you have a 4-point lead. But a couple of free throws from a flagrant foul and a technical foul get Creighton right back to square one.
It's a lot of
big moment here.
You don't ever want to see a game get to the point where there's a lot of interaction with the officials and the scorers table and the officials and both benches. Both benches have been spoken with, not just the head coaches, some of the assistant coaches. So now they're making the determination on the action that will result from what was called here or what wasn't called. It was originally called, so let's go all the way back. It's an offensive foul regardless on Spolier.
Yep.
Do they tack on a foul on top of that? If so, Spolier's gone. She's got 4 fouls right now with that initial foul called.
So the decision here is whether there was clear contact. We saw the clear contact with that right hand on the chin of Alger. The decision here is whether it was intentional to cause contact or if it was incidental as she ran through to find space down in the post. So the officials will talk to the coaches here, and that's probably not a great sign
See if we can
for the Bulldogs.
Read the body language.
It won't be difficult as you see Coach Godlewski there.
Not happy.
Frustrated right away.
And that's 5. Yeah,
that'll be
the
5
official
on
holding up
Spolier.
the number 5 for 5 fouls on Spolier. So now Creighton moments to go. Temi Sarda fouls out, one of the key cogs on offense for the Blue Jays. And now Spolier fouls out moments later, and she is the cog on the offense for the Bulldogs. We got a lot of action to go here with 3:36 to go. There's a lot to be determined still.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty as Nida Caceres will check in as Spolier, some of her teammates trying to say she only has 4 fouls with that
All right, so now
additional contact.
Now we'll see what's going on here.
Review.
Now they're saying she does only have 4. There's a lot of confusion. We're trying to read what's going on over there.
Unfortunately, lip reading from the back of the officials' heads is a little more difficult to do for the untrained eye.
Well, they're still talking to the official scorer about if they're just labeling that as 1 foul and calling it flagrant to get to the free throw line, or if they're calling it 2 separate fouls, if it's an offensive foul and then a technical on top of that.
Coach Godlewski trying to hear out the officials. Both coaches animated throughout this contest.
And I'm telling you, this is going to be a long 3:36. There's going to be more contact out there. That's going to be a fight down the stretch.
So Rembau with the free throw opportunity is the first one misses short, but Spolier does stay in the game. So Caceres back to the bench. Rembau misses a pair.
That's a big missed opportunity for Creighton. They do have the ball still, but a very big missed opportunity for Creighton on that one.
So 3:36 to go. The Jays down by 4. Batchelor takes the inbound successfully. It's been an issue for Creighton throughout this contest. Rembau now with it. Working on Toure and that length that's caused so many problems. Rembau now misses the 3-pointer short, and the Jays unable to corral the rebound, but out of bounds off of Spolier, and Michael Parham causing more problems for the Bulldogs down low.
Parham unable to come away with it, but tipped it off Spolier, who clearly did not foul out moments ago.
Alger to the rim now, and a foul on the floor drawn on Catherine Strong, and that'll be her 5th. So Strong will foul out of the game. Caceres likely coming back in, this time for Strong instead of Spolier. Now that's impactful. That front court thinned out even more with Spolier on the verge of fouling out as well, and her next.
Well, and the problem without having Temi Sarda out there for the Blue Jays, they don't have as many players that can attack the rim, attack Spolier as they would. And it's going to be more difficult to pick up that 5th foul on Spolier without the attack mentality that Sarda does have.
Elger buries the first. This is the second free throw, tapped out of bounds. It'll stay here initially with Creighton. So Butler unable to secure back-to-back rebounds on the offensive end, and Creighton giving themselves a chance.
Plenty of opportunities for Creighton. Can they capitalize?
Rembow looking to inbound, nowhere to go, finds Elger toward midcourt. She launches from the top of the key, no good. Rebound by Bry, and Butler finally takes it to the offensive end. Each possession so valuable in the final 3 minutes of this game. You'll see a lot of clock work from the Bulldogs as they try to draw themselves a foul and get to the free throw line where they've been so successful. Parker, the jump shot, rims out, no good. Bachelor with a big rebound, and she draws the foul. The reach in on Shea Bry. That's just her 3rd foul of the game, but Bachelor will make the 80-foot walk out to the free throw line.
So free throws important, rebounding clearly important here down the stretch. The Blue Jays with a slight edge in the second half on the glass. Butler with a slight edge in the ball game.
Bachelor knocks down the first.
Creighton as a team, 77% at the line, 13th nationally. First in the league in Big East games.
Second free throw from Bachelor, no good.
They're well below their average today, shooting just 58% at the line.
And a timeout called as Genesis Parker gets it across midcourt. The Bulldogs will evaluate what they want to do on offense here. It's hard to toe that line between finding the right shot and bleeding some of the clock and where you're trying to attack that Creighton defense. You want to get to the line first and foremost. So when you're looking at the defensive alignment now for the Jays, shorthanded, what do you try to isolate here on this possession?
I think what Butler's going to try to do is obviously get Spolier the ball, allow her to exploit a matchup, if they can, especially if they can get a switch onto a player that she has an advantage on. I would think Creighton's going to have Bachelor on Spolier to start, but after screens and switches, let's see who ends up with her.
It could be Parham as well, but yeah, Bachelor will open the possession. Parham really forced to stay with Shea Bry in that length. Caceres now for 3 from the wing, buries it again. Another 3-ball for Caceres, her 4th of the game. She hasn't missed from beyond the arc.
Caceres had 10 on the season coming into today, 4 this afternoon. What a shooting
out of
night.
Bounds by the Bulldogs as Caceres showcasing that emotion there after another big bucket for the Bulldogs. 15 on the shot clock now for Creighton. Dworak into the lane, throws the floater up, no good, rebounded by Bry. Butler will slow down the tempo here offensively. A big defensive possession for Creighton to stay within striking distance, defending without fouling. The key here down the stretch. Bry up top to Spolier. Down low, batted away by Alger to Parham. Nice job defensively. Now Rembow tries to find an opening. Alger unable to step into the 3. Good dish down low though. No good on the layup try for Bachelor. Another rebound. An important one from Butler on the defensive end. Timeout called by Coach Godlewski with 1:13 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Butler up by 5. They'll try to draw up An important set play here with this game potentially in limbo for the Blue Jays. Defensively, a nice job forcing a long pass on the last possession.
Yeah,
The
we'll
mismatches and the switches trying to keep your players in position defensively will be difficult here. That's got to be what Coach Flannery is talking about with the Jays.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Again, you got to figure the ball's going to be in Spolyer's hand. Now, will she decide that she wants to shoot, or does she decide to create for a teammate if she gets too much attention from the Blue Jay defense?
Toure, once again, hands off to Caceres. Alger goes for the steal, nowhere to go. Under 15 now on the shot clock. Spolyer on the perimeter. Parker again trying to create into the lane. Contact. Spolyer trying to draw a foul on the three-point line. Whistled for the travel as she throws it up.
They called the 3 seconds
And it lands.
call away from the play, actually. Or a
Well,
there's a
they will
traveling
call
on the
it
far
the
side. They
travel.
had a 3 second over here.
Yeah. Spolyer caught it after she threw up the air ball.
What an
Just
unusual
a
play.
pass to herself. Rembow vertical, not making contact there as Spolyer tried to draw the contact late in the shot clock. So under 51 seconds to play, Creighton basketball down by 5, looking for some last-minute heroics. Coach Flannery drawing up offense, which likely will have to break the press here to start. You'd think if you're Coach Godlewski, you might try to spring that on the Jays here off that baseline or on the end sideline there without being able to move.
And this has been a problem for Creighton all game long. Getting the ball inbounds. A nice part of the women's game, at least, that they can advance the ball on the timeout. So getting to inbound it on this side of the court still has proven difficult. We'll see what they can come up with here.
Alger now into the lane, no good on the floater. Rebounded by Shea Bry right away. Now will the Jays foul?
They need to.
Pressure here into the middle. Caceres down low to Spolyer. Tries to draw the foul, but still makes the bucket.
Yeah, the clock ran about an extra second long, and that's why the officials stopped play immediately. They're probably going to add a second or a second and a half back on to the clock here. But looking good for Butler. A poor execution there by the Jays to not foul. That not only allowed Butler to get back and hit the basket, but took off about 7 seconds off of the clock there. So that goes back to think about the pieces that Creighton's missing. They don't have Sard out there. They haven't had Agnew all game. Rachel Saunders, a normal player out there who's worked her way into the rotation. Just a short bench. The inexperience there of not getting the foul quick enough.
Yeah, I see Dee Pryor playing some minutes there as well. She was trying to get the steal on that second pass, but again, the length, Shea Bry able to find her teammate over the middle. But when you look at Bry and Caceres and Toure along with Spolyer, the height advantage, the reach advantage to be able to get over some of those shorter Creighton defenders in a situation like that makes the difference, and Spolyer able to convert. You knew she wasn't going to pull it out and try to slow down the clock. She sees the basket, she's going after it. And to stretch it to a 3-possession game here in the final 34.6 now on the clock. A really important make there for Butler. Now a must-have scoring possession for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they need a bucket, and they need it quick.
Rembow will inbound to Bachelor. She'll go toward the basket. A foul whistled on the touch there on Toure. So with 1 to give, that'll now put Bachelor on the line for the bonus. Knocks down free throw number 1. So big points with no time running off the clock here if you're Creighton.
Yeah, the mistake there by Toure, the freshman. Timeout by Butler.
So another whistle as the Bulldogs will try to draw up something to beat the pressure here from Creighton. They did a nice job of that the first time. But that second pass so important. So the Jays need to try to deny that original pass off the inbound.
Well, they'll get to advance again here too. So interesting to see how quickly Creighton will foul. Will they foul off the basketball or before the inbound pass even to try to save some time?
That's the thing, is once you get the ball inbound here, that second pass, if you're in the half court, could save you 5 seconds. So Creighton tries to deny any inbound here they can and use that valuable time to try to get something going offensively. They'll double the inbounding passer here, trying to get a hand on the ball. Open, though, is Shea Bry, and they'll work some clock. Finally a foul on Spolier as Parham reached in. She'll go to the line.
Good job of playing keep away, getting it into your playmaker's hand. Letting her get to the free throw line. Again, that's kind of her home away from home on the year. 4th in the nation in free throws made.
And on cue, she misses Rock. A little jinx working there on that side. But 4 missed free throws, certainly 5 missed free throws on the night, an aberration for Kristen Spolier, who now 8 of 13 from the line, and a game-high 25 points.
Still just a 2-possession game, though, for Creighton. I think that burns their final timeout there, so they will get to advance the ball one more time, but after this, no more timeouts to advance the ball for the Blue Jays. Butler has 1 timeout remaining. They could use it potentially if Creighton converts on this trip down and get themselves down into their front court. But interesting, I mean, still 2 possessions, 28 seconds to go. Creighton, obviously, 3-pointers are a huge part of their offense. So you see if you draw one up here for, Tatum Remba, obviously having a career game, 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. Olivia Elger, 13 points, but only 2 of 11 from beyond the stripe. The other X factor out there, Chloe Dworak, one of the great prep high school shooters in Nebraska history. She hasn't attempted a 3 today, but that's certainly a big part of her game, so she might be the unsuspecting player to shoot, trying to catch Butler off guard. We'll see what Coach Flannery draws up in the huddle.
Yeah, you'd think that you almost have to go for a 3-point shot here without having a timeout and being down 5. It's maybe a little early for some people's taste, but I think when you look at the need to get a steal and hope for 1 missed free throw and another 3 to tie, probably your best situation with just 28 ticks remaining. Got to get the ball inbounds first, though, as Batchelor looks backdoor. Rembaut takes it outside the perimeter, clearly looking for a 3, but nowhere to go with it. Pryor forced off the 3-point line, throws up a floater, no good. Jump ball called on the baseline. Going to stay with Creighton as Dworak and Spolier fight for possession.
14 seconds, though. That's too long to get that attempt off. And again, the inexperience showing for the Jays out there.
And now Pryor tries to corral it, but it goes out of bounds off Spolier's leg. So now further away from the basket. And 16 plus ticked off the clock in this possession already with just 1 shot attempt. Quick shot up here for Dworak from 3. Long range, no good. Rims out. Rebound by Toure, but she can't stay on her feet. Another jump ball. This time it'll go to the Bulldogs. And with just 2.5 seconds remaining, Butler with a 6-point lead. They'll call timeout to make sure they get the ball inbounds, and that'll just about do it here in Omaha.
One last advance of the basketball, and Butler will end the first half of Big East play, not only at 6-3, but 5-0 on the road. What an impressive accomplishment by this team. We talked about how they have improved over the last couple of years. 23 wins last year, a deep run into the WNIT where they picked up a couple of wins after Creighton eliminated them in the Big East tournament. But this is a big win for them. Obviously, all 6 teams in the Big East that entered today 5-3 playing against each other. And this will help separate Butler a little bit from the pack, but a really important road win for them.
So a double on the inbound here coming again for Creighton, but Caceres will try to split that. Final 2.5 seconds now as the buzzer sounds to inbound the ball. Spolier in the corner, and that'll do it. The Butler Bulldogs take a bite out of the Blue Jays in Omaha. 73-67, your final score, as Butler continues its winning ways on the road. Rob, as you said, 5-0 away from home to start the Big East Conference season. They move to 14-6 and 6-3 in conference play. The Creighton Blue Jays fall to 13-7 and 5-4. So a big win on the road here for Butler, and you see their players walking off the floor, a lot of smiles, and another smile from Coach Godlewski here as well as he joins us in the broadcast booth. Coach, congratulations on the win. We weren't expecting the offensive explosion in the early going, but then as the game settled in, we saw that gutsy effort that your team has shown throughout the season. What was the difference in trying to get length and activity defensively when Creighton was able to get off to such a hot start?
Yeah, that's been one of our assets that we've been able to utilize quite a bit this season so far. We're one of the tops in the country in steals, and we wanted to come out with their smaller guards and see if we couldn't really take advantage of that. And I thought in the first quarter that we weren't as aggressive as we needed to, and so then we switched our defenses and it kind of amped up our kids, and that's what makes these Sunday games so difficult, is trying to find that energy.
Well, I felt like your offense, Coach, was clicking more so than it was on Friday night, right? A little bit more. And any adjustments that you made to take advantage of? You mentioned maybe making a couple offensive adjustments coming into this game.
Yeah, well, I think number one, going back and watching film, we didn't do a very good job Friday night of getting touches in the post. And we did a much better job this afternoon of playing through that. And then our kids understanding what to take advantage of when the ball does touch the post. I thought we moved the ball inside and out. Those were the big shots that we got in the first half. And then we played a little bit more up-tempo than what we've been used to. We had to trust our kids. We played with that energy, and I had to trust them. They did a great job.
Speaking of trusting your kids, Kristen Spolier bouncing back from her season low in terms of point production. She was fantastic, reliable throughout as always. How important is it to have that kind of mentality from a leader on the road?
You're never going to question whether or not if she feels she's going to get 20 in a night. And, she's got that mentality where she wants to score, and she's somebody that I feel comfortable with going in, that she's going to be able to get us buckets. We're really good when we get, Umu and Genesis and Che and Kat chipping in, because that makes us that much tougher to guard.
Well, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate the time.
Tough
great win
yeah.
from a great road stretch for your team. Looking for more here in the second half as Butler improves to 6-3 in conference play to finish out the first half of Big East Conference women's play. Again, Butler will be on the at home against Xavier Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Next up for the Creighton Blue Jays at DePaul on Friday night as they'll try to bounce back once again. Some final stats here. You see it, 48.1% shooting from the field for the Bulldogs. And Rob, we saw Creighton offensively be able to create some opportunities for themselves early, but as the game progressed, it became more difficult throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking with Coach there quickly, you can understand the adjustments that he made to get those post touches, and that allowed them to kick out for that. You see 50% from three-point range was the difference here today, and the activity that they showed to create those 7 turnovers quickly in this third quarter really helped them pull away in this one.
Well, final score here, 73-67 as the Butler Bulldogs come into town and steal one from the Blue Jays on their home floor. For everyone behind the scenes of the Big East Digital Network, for my partner Rob Sims, I'm Thor Tripp. A great one here in Big East Conference action. As always, thanks for tuning in, and congrats to the Bulldogs as they march on in Big East play.